What's up, everyone? It's Chicks in the Office with Rhea and Fran, giving you that Friday energy on a Friday. Hopefully everyone had an amazing week. I think we did. I think we're ready for the weekend. We had a good day today. We are bleaching Noah's hair very soon, 2 hours. That'll be a live stream. If you missed it, you can go back on the YouTube and watch. It should be up there. We're talking in the future. We don't know how it turned out. So go back and watch on YouTube.
Could be great, could be terrible.
Who knows?
You'll all know. Because it'll be Friday and it'll be bleached.
I'm telling people where they're like, what are you nervous for it? I'm like, I just want it to look not terrible. Like, it doesn't need to look good.
It won't look terrible.
It just needs to not
My
look
cousin
awful.
is a professional. She'll make it the best.
It won't be her fault.
I would not. Yeah, exactly. And also, like, I applaud us for going the extra mile and asking your cousin to help us. Because we could have said we are just going to do this ourselves.
The original idea was that
would have been a shit show.
I don't think I would have allowed that.
Well, if you agreed to it, you wouldn't have had a choice,
Right.
would you?
You wouldn't have.
You're going to let down all of our 150,000 subscribers?
I would have had my person do it.
It's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Very interested. Very excited.
I'm excited.
How you doing?
Great.
Good.
Yeah. It's a long week. Busy, but like good busy. I felt like we had a lot going on. Mm-hmm. But we're getting shit done, you know?
Yeah.
Couple boss ladies.
Yeah, we are. Hell yes.
Yeah.
Sister.
Are you doing anything fun this weekend?
Oh, am I? Yes, I have my friend's bridal shower. And then my block is having a block party for the first time in
block party?
Maybe 15 years.
I love block parties. Oh my God, I haven't been to a block party in forever.
Me either. They literally disappeared. But my block is doing one.
They're bringing it back?
They're doing one this Saturday.
Oh my God, my neighborhood, we used to have block parties.
All the time.
Yeah.
They're the best. I said, listen, as long as there's somebody doing face paint, I'm there.
Yeah.
I do have a bridal shower first, and then I'll be attending after.
Will there be a moon bounce?
I don't know anything about this block
Cotton
party.
candy?
Friend, I know nothing about the block party. I have not been involved
God,
in the
I
planning
have
of the block party.
That's super unfortunate because I have so many questions.
I feel like it's going to be pretty lame.
About the block party.
If I had to make a guess, it's going to be lame. We don't know any of our neighbors anymore. Like we have our OG neighbors, and there have just been who are still there, but then we have a whole influx of new neighbors that we don't really care about. In my opinion,
like little kids.
Yeah, there's tons of new little kids.
Yeah,
they look cute, but we don't
keep your distance.
Yeah, we don't know them, right? I mean, what?
No, I know,
Made me just seem like a freak when you said keep your distance.
No, I'm just, I'm laughing because it's you when you're a family and your neighbors are all like kids around your own age, you obviously want to mesh and meet and hang out and make new friends. But when it's like, even if your neighbor, it could be directly across the street. If you're like, we don't have anything in common with them.
Well, now my sister's having a baby, so like maybe she'll want to make new friends on the block with other people that are having babies. Who knows? The family tree grows on.
Possibilities are endless for the block party.
They are. Who knows? Block party of the century.
Maybe there'll be a nice sprinkler. Kids running through a sprinkler.
I used to love that.
I used to do
Same.
that. We didn't have
you
a
get the one,
pool
what was
or anything,
the one?
so we had to run through a sprinkler.
Oh, man. What was the one that there was always the commercials for?
Super soaker?
No, not a super soaker, but it was like a certain kind of sprinkler. And like they waved like the car wash things. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Sprinklers were sick. Like, mom, can we run outside? Can we play in the sprinkler today outside?
Yeah, it was like they made it so it was like a snake, so like you couldn't catch it, would go wild,
and you would,
kind of
slip
thing.
and slide on the grass. You'd have
good slip and slide.
You'd have grass all over you.
I had a great backyard for a slip and slide. We were in a slight slope.
Oh, that is a good. You need a little bit of a slope for a slip and slide.
Good for that and for sledding, but dangerous towards the bottom.
Probably
a lot of trees, so sometimes
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
If you want, you just have to stop yourself.
So you have acres of land?
No. No. Do not have acres of land. But if you went too far, you are going into the fence. I mean, the end of the backyard. But wow, block party, that just made me feel, just was a burst of life into me.
Yeah. So
it just made me excited about when we
have
block parties with our own kids.
I know. That'll be cute.
Let's make sure the block party never dies,
Right. Let's make block parties live on forever.
Yeah. I feel like I don't see as many block parties these days.
I just really hope it's not fucking lame.
Granted, I live in Manhattan, So I'm not around a lot of block parties.
Trust me, when I got the notice, when my family passed on to me that we were having a block party, I was shocked.
Yeah.
I almost fell over.
Yeah.
I was like, a block party? What are you talking about? They showed me the flyer.
I love it.
I was like, what are you talking about, block party?
It's good stuff.
Chicks in the Office is sponsored by BetterHelp. Sometimes we're faced with a crossroads in life and we don't know which path to take. Maybe you're thinking about a career change or feeling like your relationships in your life, friendships in your life need some tender love and care. Whatever it is, therapy can help you map out your future and trust yourself to find the way forward. I know plenty of people in my life that have gone to therapy, have used BetterHelp. They're looking for resources to help them. They don't want to go see a therapist in person. They resort to online. That's where BetterHelp comes into play and can help you. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Let therapy be your map with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/office today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/office. Once again, BetterHelp.com, HELP.com/office. You can try it today. It's entirely online. Up to you. BetterHelp.com/office. Okay, 2 weeks ago, 2 Fridays ago, maybe not last Friday, Friday before, we were talking about embarrassing stories, right?
Yes.
That you finally get off your chest and you never tell anybody.
Yeah.
And I said I had one that I refused to tell anybody, and I ended up telling it basically that night, I think, or a couple nights after, where
which you then must have forgotten about because you just
I did. I forgot about it.
Told me now that that you released the story.
Yes. So
I'll tell it. You're ready to tell it.
I am ready to tell it. And here's the thing, though.
How bad is it to my booger story?
It's worse, but not it's not as bad because nobody noticed.
Okay.
But I noticed.
See, that's the thing.
Now, here's my problem. I am now unveiling a story that could have me get made fun of, could open up to the people, if they listen to the show, start to make fun of me. And I want some people to sign on to the fact that they won't relay the story to their significant others, not our listeners. But if you are a friend of mine, a girl, do not relay the story to your significant other.
I got you.
Okay?
You're okay with our listeners knowing, but you don't want anybody in your actual circle of friends knowing.
No, because it would ruin me.
I almost wish you didn't put that disclaimer because now people are, they're going to find out somehow.
Now I don't want to tell it.
No, they won't find out. They won't find out. They won't find out.
Anyways, a long story short.
Everybody, shh, keep a secret.
Long story short.
Keep a secret.
You remember Easter, we went to go visit our friends, and it was like a group of people.
Yes.
In Maryland.
Yes.
And we went out, okay? We were all drunk. We came back. We ordered food. We ordered Taco Bell. A couple of us were sitting at the table eating, and one slid out from me.
That's the story?
Extremely loud.
Oh my God. That's not that embarrassing. People fart in front of other people often.
But nobody said anything. Okay?
Okay.
And so I have lived with this. All right? Like the thing is, it happened and nobody said anything. Nobody was like guys like blaming on each other or whatever. Literally nobody said a word, okay? Yeah. They must have thought it was a chair, whatever. And I have lived with this thinking that Matt knew and covered up for me and just didn't say anything. So I just have not brought it up thinking he'd be like, oh yeah, I knew that. I just didn't say anything.
I heard about your big fart.
Because yeah. He's like, I thought that he was.
Everyone's been talking about your back.
Yeah, I thought he was going to be like, yeah, I did hear it. I didn't say anything. I didn't want to embarrass you.
Yeah.
So that's why it's been embarrassing for me because I thought that he knew and covered up for me. And so I've lived with this. I've never done that ever in front of anybody, okay? And so yes, it may not be embarrassing for everybody else.
I was gonna say there is no shame in this game, and sometimes that just happens.
Have I let one slide in front of him before? Yes, yeah. I told you the story. I was excited. I won a little money gambling. It came out. That's how we broke the ice. But this one in front of you can't. You can't live on with that. You can't live on.
Then
the friends just start making fun of you every time you see them, and you're like,
no.
Miss Tudor. whatever. I hate that word so fucking much.
Miss Toots a lot.
Stop. See, now this is my fear.
But let me tell you something.
One of the wives are going to hear this, or girlfriends, and they're going to tell them, and they're going to say, Rhea, she farted after.
Guess what? She farted. Like every human.
I know. That's what I'm saying. It's just normalized. It's not a crazy thing. Also, it's like sometimes with your friends, you just gotta joke. And you say, if you fart in front of your friends, you're like, sorry guys, that was me.
I couldn't do it. So
hand up guys, that one was me. And then everybody laughs and then you move on.
I held that in for so long and he was like, what? He was like, who cares?
Exactly.
He was like, that's what you couldn't even get out of your mouth? I was like, because I thought
my booger story was way worse than this.
I know. And now that it's not that embarrassing, I get it. But when you live with something and you built it up way worse in your head.
Yeah.
And I've built it up into thinking I don't care if he knows. Trust me. I'm way past that stage at this point. I almost can't shut up about it. You know this. I don't know who I've become. But
here we are again.
I'm rambling
about it. Another Friday.
About it.
Friday farts.
Fridays. Ew.
Party Fridays.
Ew. So I told my sister and her husband this, which I always say my sister and her husband. It's my brother-in-law.
Yeah.
I'm sometimes I still get used to saying that.
Yeah.
And they were like, and nobody ripped you apart for doing that? I was like, they didn't realize. It's like nobody said it was anybody. And so I've lived with this since April. And then when I got it off my chest, I was like, this is nothing.
I think I'm just desensitized to it because of how gross my own family is. Mm-hmm. Just like my brother, my dad are just, they're just farters. They just are. Mm-hmm. And nothing makes my dad laugh more, truly. And I don't know if you've ever seen it happen, but I have the same conversation with my mom constantly. I mean, they've been married for a long time and my mom reacts the exact same way for 30 plus years. He will fart, in the home. Sometimes, you never know. But and without fail, my mom will go, John, like that every single time. And every single time my mom reacts like that, it makes him laugh.
Yeah.
And I go, Mom, maybe if you stopped reacting every single time, he wouldn't think it was so funny. He puts a little act into it,
It's a show.
It's a total show.
Imagine the next...
But every single time, it's without fail, immediate laughter.
Imagine the next time I'm eating dinner with your family, I just let one absolutely...
Everybody would laugh.
And I raise my hand, I'm like, oh, sorry, it was me. Yeah.
Believe me, you would get maybe a standing ovation. Everyone would be crying laughing. Well, without a doubt.
I think it's the funniest thing now. I don't know what happened where I now find this stuff funny. Like when we were having that huge meeting where Dave was announcing that he was buying back Barstool, Gia was like, what if somebody just farted right now? And I started cracking up and I was like, that is not something I would usually laugh at. Yep. But now I think it's hilarious.
You're in the other side.
So anyways, the story that I thought was really embarrassing is not that embarrassing, but what's embarrassing now is me holding on to it for so long and making it a bigger deal than it is.
And thinking about it for weeks.
It's not even like a story. It's just
it's also no, literally. It was like one time I farted
in front of other people.
And
end story.
The worst part was there's
also this happened around Easter, so you've been thinking about this for months.
I have, because I don't think I've ever been in the situation where I have in front of a large group of people.
Yeah.
In front of one person, two people, yes. But in front of a group of people, silence while everyone's eating has never happened before. And I couldn't even, I didn't even know where it came from. I was like, whoa. I almost did one of those, I saw my life flash before my eyes when it happened. And,
oh man.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, right. Good. Anyways, yeah. I was gonna tell another story, but I don't want to. Oh. It's not embarrassing.
Okay.
I'll save it for 2 weeks from now.
Okay.
Don't worry.
For another edition.
No. Yeah.
Every 2 weeks. Another edition of Friday Farts.
It doesn't have to do with farting or anything like that. It just I'll tell it right before Labor Day weekend.
Got it.
Okay.
We both went back to our
yes.
We both went back to our nails. Thank God.
Thank God.
I know.
So I was really not feeling well yesterday, which by the way I've been talking about. I've had this lingering headache migraine for like a week and a half now. I don't know what's going on, but I gotta hydrate more. I think I've just come to the conclusion maybe I'm dehydrated. Besides the point, I was feeling not.
You definitely don't drink enough water.
I don't, and like so I go through phases where I really do, where I'm drinking a ton, and I'm in one of those phases where I haven't been, and I think that's my problem. Besides the point, anyways, I had to hit my nail appointment though. I was like, if there's one thing that's happening is I'm going to get my nails done. I can't not get my nails done, and then I fell asleep at 6 o'clock. That's how I knew I wasn't feeling great. Is that I took a nap at 6 p.m.
What do you got on there? Is that Kyoto Pearl?
I don't read the they just hand me a thing with numbers.
Yeah.
And so I never get to know the name.
Oh. Was it OPI? Do you know?
Yes, it was OPI.
But is there chrome on it or is it just a polish?
No chrome, just polish.
That's definitely Kyoto Pearl. I love that one. I use that one often.
I really like it a lot.
It like gives that pearly chromy illusion, but without the chrome.
It might be my regular because it's just subtle, it's neutral. I do it all the time. I feel good about it. I don't want to well, you know what's weird is I picked another color at first that was similar to this one, but it had more of a pinky corally shade. She put one swipe on. I said no. I've never done that in my life.
Where I'm glad you stood up for yourself.
I said I don't like this color. I said
need a change.
Immediately take this off. I'm like, I'm not going through this again. I said I hated my color the last time. I have to tell you, Anita, I hated it.
Yeah. What did I do this time? I
like yours. Ours are similar.
Right now. They are similar. I copied Lauren Elizabeth on Instagram. She always has great nails.
She's got good style.
She does, and she's having a baby soon. So I actually just saw that she like cut her nails. She used to always have pretty long nails. She cut her nails, but she has like a nails highlight on her Instagram. And I was like, I know she has a neutral nail that I remember seeing that I really loved. So I went back, and it's one coat of Essie Waltz and one coat of OPI. Put it in neutral, and then the white chrome.
I like it
on top, and it's a pretty
subtle
neutral nail.
They're pretty,
they're super similar.
Yeah,
yours is like a little more cloudy, which is nice too. You know, mine's a little more like clear. I guess neutral, clear, whatever you want to call it.
Good for us getting our nails done.
Yeah, proud of us.
Happy.
Don't you feel a pressure now? Like,
oh my god, I feel like such a fucking relief.
I know, but also I just mean like, I don't know how. You got such a nice ring on your hand, you know? It's like, how could I have bad nails?
That's why I hated the light blue. I felt like it didn't complement the ring.
Right, exactly.
I know I have this other ring on.
Right.
And I'm like, oh no, like the light, like you have to be, I'm like, I might just stick with this color forever because the light blue did not do it justice.
Yeah.
All right, should we get into the topics?
Let's do it.
I'm kind of talking like Hozier.
Oh, I had one thing I wanted to pop in and say that is topic adjacent. But we were going back and forth on Wednesday about
topic adjacent. Jason.
Tint. Keke Palmer and her boyfriend did break up.
Yes, they did.
That came out literally on Thursday.
Is an aspiring actor.
Yes, they have split, which is not shocking. You know, the music video is out. It's great. Fantastic. Love Keke Palmer. But I feel like we were speculating because there wasn't like official news of if they had split or not. And then that news came on Thursday. So just wanted to make sure that everyone does know that, yes, that did happen, and it is exactly what we thought. All right, great.
All right, let's get into the topics. We're going to be talking about Britney Spears' divorce. Raquel was on Bethany's podcast. Selena Gomez is releasing new music, as well as Miley Cyrus, and we have our weekly watch report. So let's get into the topics. Why don't we? Oh, we have a great interview with Hozier. Hozier.
I love that. Like,
sorry, every time I say it with an accent.
No, but I like it.
Hozier.
It gives him. It's like just a little fancy flair to it.
Almost French.
Hozier.
Oh, that reminds me.
Is that something for the show, or is that for your personal notes?
No. We watched for it. I watched the movie.
Was it French?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, great.
Oui. Yes.
Si.
Okay. Oui. All right. Let's get into the topics.
Oui. I have never heard anyone complain about receiving jewelry as a present. Everybody loves a good piece of jewelry, but it can be tricky to gift it the right way and to pick out something that you know the person's going to like. When you're investing in a piece for yourself or anyone else, you want to make sure everything about it is absolutely perfect. That's why we want to share what makes us feel the best about a jewelry purchase, sourcing it from BlueNile.com. Blue Nile offers thousands of independently graded diamonds and fine jewelry at prices significantly below traditional retail. Whether you're looking for a bit of summer sparkle for yourself or a gift for someone special, Blue Nile offers peace of mind with every purchase with some of the highest quality standards in the industry. You can design your own earrings for something custom and fresh, or check out their necklaces for a timeless essential. We both got pairs of earrings that we love. I have diamond studs that are just classic. You can wear them any day, dress them up, dress them down. Rhea has a pair of diamond hoops that are stylish, beautiful, also goes with absolutely everything. And we know that they're high quality and they're beautiful pieces. So if you have questions, Blue Nile's jewelry experts are on hand 24/7 via phone or chat. So they're always there to help you find the perfect gift. So experience the ease and convenience of shopping Blue Nile today at BlueNile.com. That's BlueNile.com.
Okay, let's start off with Britney Spears and that dirty Sam we knew was a little rat and everyone was afraid to say it. Everyone was afraid to say, we're nervous about this guy, because everyone wanted Britney Spears to be happy and nobody wanted to judge her for getting married, even though she definitely shouldn't have. And look what has happened now. This guy is trying to fucking rattle her like a little piggy bank that she's kept in her bedroom for more money, and it's disgusting.
I loved everything you just did. You just hit every note very well.
You picture one of those piggy banks?
Yeah, I can see her shaking
them dry. There's
all
nothing
the pennies
left.
are coming. I know. Look, I think Sam is already trying to sell this narrative that Britney is, hasn't been doing well and it's just been too much for him and blah, blah, blah. They also apparently had some big fight, or TMZ had originally posted that Sam thought Britney was cheating.
Was stepping out.
And
who's Britney cheating with?
I know, and that they got like into a fight about it, and now it's like this whole big thing. Really, the big thing is here, and what really is the only telling thing, like, I don't care what ups and downs were happening in their relationship, but from the beginning, everyone thought, oh, like, make sure they have a prenup, make sure everything's set up, and they do, but he is looking for more money, because he says that he will reveal embarrassing stories, embarrassing facts about her if he doesn't get paid more. So he
fucking
said,
scum.
A source told
Let's just nickname him not Piggy Bank, because that would be her.
I can't.
What's his name?
My brain's gone blank. Sam Asghari.
Shitty Sam. Slimy Sam. Yeah, Slimy Sam's trying to rattle her for more money. I'm going to release embarrassing story. Don't you think she's been through enough, Slimy Sam?
I know.
Don't you think enough embarrassing stories have hit the news outlets of her, Slimy Sam? And you know what's really telling, or not that much, but it was interesting. Jamie Lynn Spears liked the People post about them getting a divorce.
I know.
Selena Gomez went to their wedding.
I just hope that
she gave up her time to go to this wedding. It's useless.
so many, and Paris Hilton, Drew Barrymore. I just hope that that Britney has people. You know, like that's like always my biggest thing.
She does.
That's what makes me so sad. It's like, who is there to help her?
Literally, so many people would help her. All of us would help Britney, and yet she can't find somebody genuine in her life.
I know.
Fucking
she did hire Laura Wasser, though.
She did.
Who is, let me tell you, the creme de la creme of Hollywood divorce lawyers. If you want the best of the best in the biz, she is the best.
There's something that tickles my spine a little bit when you pronounce a word or say something like that.
Creme de la creme?
Yeah, it's like, Fran.
Yeah. Britney has hired her and her team. Page six, just lost that completely.
You got it.
After my beautiful creme de la creme moment, and I just crumbled.
You got all stage fright.
Page 6. An insider with knowledge of the situation confirmed to us Wednesday that the pop star hired the powerhouse attorney as her split from Sam is likely to turn into a nasty battle inside the courtroom. He is allegedly trying to change the terms of the prenup. The insider alleges that he is attempting to negotiate concessions beyond his prenup and threatening to go public with extraordinarily embarrassing information about Britney unless he gets paid.
So he's blackmailing her.
Yep.
That's what we like to call blackmail, Slimy Sam.
Yeah. Kevin Federline, when she went through the divorce with Kevin Federline, she also hired Laura Wasser. Apparently.
Well, Laura knows what she's doing.
She does. She absolutely does. So, I'm just very much hoping.
You're nailing it today.
Just crushing it.
What was the name in the Hozier interview that you butchered?
Oh my God.
It's not her fault.
Look at how that name is spelled. And you take a crack at it.
What's his name?
Donald Gleason. Now I'm going to get it right.
Gleason.
But look at that, the spelling of that first name.
Yeah, Mr. I'm good at pronouncing not Noah.
American physician Donald Gleason came up.
No. Actor.
How do you spell it? It's definitely not that.
Gleeson is his last name.
Glea.
Just search Gleason about time.
Domhnall.
Thank you. There you go.
Domhnall.
Yeah. As our good friend Andrew told us in the interview, it's Gaelic. So
the M's are not pronounced.
Wasn't,
Donald
can't
Gleason.
say I'm well versed in Gaelic pronunciation. Anyway, I just, get this guy out of here.
Duh.
Get Britney. I just
free Britney.
Just want, does Britney have friends?
I don't think Britney knows who and who not to let into her life anymore.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
I think she's making mistakes.
Friends that aren't beyond surface level or other celebrity friends, people she can really trust.
I don't think so. Moving on.
Tough. It's tough.
It is. It's sad.
It's, I don't like it. No. I don't like it. And this guy, what a slime ball. Sleaze.
Fucking toxic.
Saw it coming.
Okay,
ignoring that.
Raquel,
he already made that joke on Instagram, right. So not hitting as hard.
And not only did he make it on Instagram, he texted us the joke too.
Yep.
He's hit every angle to tell this joke.
Yeah, he has.
Which sometimes you have to do when you're a comedian. Raquel was on Bethany's podcast, her first interview since the scandal broke.
Yep.
And now I'm not very much on board with calling her Rachel. Because it doesn't feel natural to me because we've been calling her Raquel for so long.
Right.
And I genuinely did not think it was so funny when people were like, okay, Rachel. I was all right, low brow insult.
Yeah.
You're not really all right, what are you doing here? But now she's taking back the name Rachel for herself. I find it to be very confusing. It just feels natural to call her Raquel. That's what we've called her. Now, she went on Bethany Frankel's podcast where Bethany Frankel is leading this campaign in reality TV that it's bad for you, it's bad for people, everything's contrived, blah, 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 and people are manipulated while Bethany is using Raquel for clicks for her podcast, which anybody would do, right?
Yeah.
If we had the chance to sit down with Raquel, would we do it? Yes.
But we're not riding on the message of reality reckoning and Bravo's exploiting their stars.
Yeah. And she was exploiting Raquel on this podcast. But I still would, anybody would take the interview.
No.
But Bethany's a hypocrite.
Absolutely. I just find Bethany being the one to do this hypocritical in that sense. Also, I get why, it's we're reliving the whole Howie Mandel thing over again, right? It's Scandoval did that knowing it was going to be a softball. Her team set this up because they know Bethany was going to take it easy on her, and not that anybody needs to be going at her I at this point in time. But I think that there is an in-between zone, and I will say from listening to her, it did feel like she has done a lot of work on herself, for sure. She seemed a lot more confident in the things that she was saying. I did feel like there was definitely some excuses still flying around. Obviously, those are her truths and whatever she wants to say, but I just felt that Bethany really gave her every opportunity to be like, oh, well, that wasn't really how that happened, and you weren't really friends with her, right? So who really cares? And just for her for Raquel to be like, yeah, you're right, kind of not that there needed to be pushback or anything like that, but I felt like she could have had this conversation with maybe like more of a mental health podcast. I don't know, something where she could talk about her headspace and her actions and how she's learned from them and how she's growing from it without necessarily this heavy Bethany reality TV is so evil, because Bethany has now been profiting off of speaking about reality TV so much. I saw, people were commenting and Kyle from Summer House commented too, that like, he's like, I've never heard so many ads in a podcast. Like she had so many, like a ton of ads playing in her episode. She's making money off of this, of course, as anybody would, but she has also been digging very deep into like Bravo is exploiting their reality stars and they're not making money and they're not making enough money, and reality stars should also be going on strike, while also she profits off of these shows. She does episodes talking about these episodes. She started a whole Housewives rewatch podcast. Right. So it's like she's making money off of the shows on Bravo. Right. I don't know. It's just like everything Bethany's been doing has been irritating me.
Now, I think that this sort of conversation with Raquel is a conversation that needed to be handled with care.
Absolutely.
And I felt like she maybe had gone a little backwards in this conversation, because like you said, it sounded like she had worked on herself. She even said she was thankful that her family, was able to extend the stay from 60 to 90 days. After 60 days, she did not feel like she was ready to leave. She realized a lot of things about why she was acting the way she was acting, why she was looking for men who are unavailable. She has intimacy problems. She didn't work through her past relationship, and there were reasons why she was doing these bad things. And now when you have this conversation with Bethany, you hear Bethany going, I was watching and I just didn't see what was so bad about people who take place drinking in a bar. What's so bad? It's about affairs. And it's like, all right, now you are feeding Raquel with something new that she probably was not hearing in this facility while working on herself. The people in the facility were not saying to Raquel, who cares? You were in a bar drinking as your TV show where it's all about affairs. It's totally fine with you. Who cares about this? That's not what she was hearing. She was hearing things to help herself. And I feel like this sort of conversation is something that would make Raquel regress back into thinking, you know what? Maybe you are right, Bethany. What did I do exactly wrong? So I just felt like this sort of conversation with Raquel is something that needed to be handled with care, and I felt like it was handled with somebody who is just trying to profit off of bashing things that are happening on reality TV and not actually caring about what is happening. She's never seen Vanderpump Rules. She didn't know anything about the dynamics.
I don't know anything about this show. I don't know anything about it.
Is like Raquel's like, we weren't, which to an extent, do I believe that maybe Raquel and Ariana were show friends and maybe not the best of friends off screen? Yes, but also at the same time, she sat in the room with us and told us she knows who her real friends are, and Ariana is one of them. And so, you could be playing that up for the reality show aspect. There's different layers to it. I just felt like this was not the place for Raquel to do this interview, although of course her team would think so because Bethany's never seen it. So how is she supposed to ask her the right questions?
Totally.
She's just going at it from a reality TV is bad. And yes, there are points of reality TV that are not good for somebody who's on reality TV. But I think, Raquel has realized it's not the place for her at this point going forward.
Yeah, she's not going back.
And it's been reported that she made about $350,000 last season. And she said that she's severely underpaid. She gets paid as much as Bethany's interns, which I guess Bethany's interns make a lot of money because that's a ton of money. So
it's a shit ton of money.
I guess Bethany pays really well, unless she gave different numbers. I'm not sure.
I don't know. That's why I felt like these were two separate conversations happening in one episode, if that makes sense. Like in one conversation. I felt like Bethany's conversation about reality TV and Bravo, if they want to have that money conversation and they're not being paid enough, or they're Raquel talking about being in debt, like things like that I think is a separate conversation than what happened with Raquel and how she has handled that and grown from that and moving on from that. Like combining the two things is where I think Raquel's team could have led her in a better direction of going on a different show.
I totally agree.
I find because that this wasn't the conversation that we needed to have, of her now basically being like, I did something terrible and Bravo is laughing to the bank about it, and I don't see that money. It's like, okay, we can discuss that, but let's not have all of that happen in the same time as this is the first interview I'm doing since this happened.
Right. I think there could have been a separate conversation, like you said, a different podcast where it really focuses on mental health or something in that capacity, where Raquel could dive deep into what she's learned at this facility. And I think people could relate to it. And I think people can learn from it. And I think although she made a terrible, terrible, terrible mistake, I think people can sympathize with the fact that nobody needs to be like going after her life anymore. I think that she's like gotten that already. I think people are human, and I think they could recognize that. But then when you start throwing in the excuses and you start throwing in the, well, I'm not getting paid for what I did, you're right. It's a different conversation. I think her PR probably could have handled it
I just think this was personally like a good, like, I don't really have any more bashing to do on Raquel. I think that's fine. I think everybody at this point should move on from it, and she can go do whatever she wants to do. But the choice of doing this with Bethany, bizarre to me.
Especially when Bethany is leaving a bad taste in people's mouths lately.
Yeah.
That I think maybe her people were not aware of.
Yeah.
That I think that's like just like a double whammy.
Yeah.
Because people are just seeing through Bethany.
And I don't know. I would love to really hear more of the reasoning on it, right? And they were like, oh, because you were one of the only people who were defending her. Well, Bethany never watched the show. She had no idea. She jumped in right at the end. And I think
it's easy to defend somebody when you've never seen the show before.
And it's like exactly the Howie Mandel thing. But I think it's just like enough time has passed also where anybody who really followed closely with the show and what happened would have some grace with her coming on their show. Like, I don't think she would sit in an interview and be absolutely just destroyed.
Yeah.
I know we wouldn't conduct it that way. So it's like, I just feel like that's how it didn't have to be Bethany's show.
Yeah, you can have a serious conversation with somebody about something they did wrong without going after them.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, it was kind of just a weird choice. And honestly, like, there wasn't too much of what she was saying that threw me for a loop or anything. Like, there wasn't any big revelations.
She did say that she does not believe that her and Scandoval were in love anymore. Yeah. She doesn't think she was in love with him. Yeah. She doesn't think that he was in love with her. I thought that was...
I think that makes sense. A lot of sense.
Makes sense. And I think that proves that they are not together and won't be together. I think being off the show is best case scenario.
There was a couple interesting things about Tom that she did say, that apparently he got offered a producer credit for season 11. The show was going to be canceled after season 10 if Scandoval didn't happen. And about the Tom filming her thing, she said that she confronted him on camera and he got mad and then asked her, like, why would you bring that up on camera? And he boycotted filming unless they took that out.
Yeah.
So he is just
such a, oh my God.
He's the one. I hold so much more contempt.
Right. He's the one filming him. Again, going back to the show. And, it's just, And then, so did you see that Ariana's best friend put on his story, like, true life, none of us saw the video?
Yeah.
I think it's very easy to lie and say you didn't see the video.
Yeah.
I don't know what the truth is to that one.
Yeah.
In a moment of anger, did Ariana send the video to her around? You know what I mean? You don't know. And I don't think we should speculate either. I don't think so either. She went through something like that is not good. So that part I don't think we should speculate on. Right. But so it is interesting to hear that Sandoval wanted to cut all that out of.
Yeah. It does seem like, and also, boy, do I not like him getting a producer credit.
Crazy.
He should have no fucking decisions on how this show's made. Anyway.
But in his eyes, he's like, look, I got us season 11.
Like, what? Now we have to watch season 11 with the mindset that things are moving around for him. But I think, like, if this is it for her in reality, maybe not reality TV as a whole, but like Vanderpump Rules done, it's probably for the best.
Yeah, I agree. Last thing is that we are getting new music from both Selena Gomez and Miley Cyrus, which just makes everybody's hearts happy. Selena Gomez posted an Instagram today. I feel like this has been in talks for like a week now because there was a new website that went up that, alluded to Selena Gomez having a new single. The song is called Single Soon. And she wrote, y'all have been asking for new music for a while. Since I'm not quite done with SG3, I wanted to put out a fun little song I wrote a while back that's perfect for the end of summer. Single soon, August 25th. Pre-save it now. And with some pictures.
It's apparently a song she recorded like many years ago. Not many, but like I saw someone say maybe like 2017-ish. I don't know. So that's a pretty long time ago. And Miley, just, the best era. We got Miley and Selena dropping music on the same day. Miley is dropping a song, Used to Be Young, August 25th. She wrote, in celebration of my new single release, Endless Summer Vacation Backyard Sessions continues. August 24th at 10 p.m. Eastern on ABC. This time with a retrospective interview sharing stories about the first 30 years of my life in honor of Used to Be Young. This song is dedicated to my loyal fans. I love you for loving every version of me. Always, Miley. So super interesting. I think this year, obviously, like she said, it's coming with a big interview, which love, fun.
Cannot wait.
I've also seen these posters have been up everywhere. There's a big campaign going on right now for her different Miley eras, and
her mom posted a video. Came in like a wrecking ball. Hopped off a plane at LAX, like all different eras of Miley Cyrus, which we've been talking about is what we want.
I know everyone is critical on copying other people's stuff, right? Like the Jonas Brothers are doing all their albums and it's like, oh, they're just copying the Eras tour. I want everyone to copy the Eras tour.
It's a genius idea, why shouldn't we? Let's not get mad at anybody for doing it.
Exactly. It's a great idea for Taylor. She's a genius, of course. But don't tell me you wouldn't love all your favorite artists doing the same kind of thing.
Everybody does, because when I go to a concert, like Drake did It's All a Blur. He did a bunch of songs from the beginning to now. Everybody, when they go to a concert, they want to hear all of their favorite songs. They want to hear the old ones. They want to hear it all. And I also think people have been doing this for a while.
Yeah.
I just think the way that Taylor Swift marketed it is what's making people talk about it more, but people have been doing this for a while now. But yeah, I think it would be great if Miley Cyrus did, and of course we love any new Miley music and new Selena music. I think both at the same time is great, and we're excited for it.
It has been a really long time since Selena's last album Rare?
I think.
Was that the name of her album? Yeah, right? Mm-hmm. Is that the last album she put out? I mean, we were doing a live. Oh, we're TikTok. We were doing a live listening on radio.
I remember that.
Good old days. Remember that when we were listening to Selena?
I don't even remember that.
When we would do the.
I know we would do the live.
Oh, you don't remember? We did one for Selena for that album. Yeah, Rare came out in 2020.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was before that.
I thought it was before that too. That's not as long.
Oh, but remember, it was right pre. Everything shutting down.
Okay, but that doesn't shock me as much as I thought it was like 2018.
No, not at all. January 2020. That's
all right. That's not that long ago.
No.
Okay, makes sense.
Exciting.
Very exciting.
Support for today's episode comes from Jenny Kane. It's the perfect timing, honestly, because it's summer, and I think that everyone's wardrobe could use a little refresh going into fall. Jenny Kane is a California brand through and through, and their summer staples make getting dressed easier than it's ever been before. Think minimalist and effortless, but totally refined. I'm wearing Jenny Kane right now. This is a beautiful long cardigan, cashmere. It's just amazing. I've been wearing it all episode. It's the perfect transition piece for the hot days and cooler days. Maybe it's hot during the day, or maybe you are like us and you work in an office that the air conditioning is so cold and you need a couple layers. Well, this cardigan is perfect. They have a ton of super luxe cashmere sweaters. They also do summer cotton better than anyone. The Chloe cardigan is great for beach days, and their cotton fisherman sweater is a bestseller every year. Plus, everything in their collection is designed so intentionally that you can style pieces together without a second thought. So everything can pair together so nicely. It's so easy to build your wardrobe. They also have an incredible rewards program when you can earn up to 10% back with every purchase, and joining is completely free. So find your forever pieces at jennykane.com. Our listeners get 15% off your first order when you use code CHICKS at checkout. That's 15% off your first order at JENNIKAYNE.com. Promo code CHICKS. Let getting dressed be one less thing to worry about.
All right, let's get into the weekly watch report where we talk about things we watched this week.
Do you remember the jingle that you were doing last week? I really liked it. Now I forget it.
Weekly watch report. No, that's the original.
Yeah.
Coming back at you with a weekly watch report.
Yeah, that was
hear
it.
all the things that Noah watch and makes us bored.
Yep,
something
that was
like
it.
that.
That was it.
Yep.
Might be a little wordy there.
I added
at the
more
end.
words. I have to go back unless I added more words. I did.
What did you watch this week?
So the movie that I remembered to write down was Burnt with Bradley Cooper and Uma Thurman and
Never seen it.
Sienna Miller. There's a couple different faces in there. Came out in 2015. Takes place in London at the Langham Hotel where I stayed, and I was so excited to realize that as I was watching it. Bradley Cooper plays a chef, Adam Jones. I don't think it's a real chef, but it's modeled after many other famous chefs who go through trials and tribulations of being a chef, of being an asshole chef, basically. Yeah, it was interesting. I liked it. I'll give it a C+.
Okay.
I watched the first episode of Depp vs. Heard, or Heard vs. Depp.
I watched the whole thing.
I'm going to give that a C.
Yeah.
Or a D. Like, I just feel like it's everything we've seen before. I don't know.
Yeah. It is. I will say it's definitely, it wasn't.
I'm going to give it a C.
It wasn't really like new information.
I'm going to
per
give it a
se.
C minus.
Yeah.
I can't decide. What are you grading it? I want to copy you.
I would give it a C.
I'll go C minus.
Yeah.
C minus.
I watched all of them. So I think that it was more the setup of it was interesting to me. And because it's all kind of things that we discussed when it was happening, right? When we were like, it's so crazy, the effect of social media and how TikTok is really creating a narrative for one person here and all that. And so like they really dove into that, which was interesting to see. I think cutting back their testimonies was also very interesting, where it wasn't like, obviously that's not, Amber was on the stand, Johnny was on the stand, separate, weeks apart, but then really them cutting back and forth from them telling like the same stories, and how they were telling it differently, and seeing really some of like the YouTube reactions and the fans' reactions of people just so gung-ho for Johnny that there was no way he could have done anything. And it was just, like you said, it was just like a little scary to see the blind faith, for sure. And it's nothing that we haven't also said when we were talking about these two, that it was just, it seems like it was an extremely volatile relationship on both ends.
Yeah, they were awful for each other. That's what I've taken away from it, is that they were both awful.
Yep. Bad evidence against Johnny, bad evidence against Amber. And at the end of the day, Johnny has the money,
lawyer.
power. He had that. His lawyers were insane, and he went in doing exactly what he wanted to do, which was make this a public spectacle to win the public back on his side. No matter, like, I don't think he could have cared less what happened actually within the trial. It was how do I get and it's the conversation of why they had the cameras in the courtroom and everything. Like, he was able to win over the public again. They're both actors, and it's what they can do. They win people over like that. So, but it was very interesting. And it's, it's 3 episodes, quick thing to watch.
Yes. Okay, I gave that a C minus. I watched episodes 6 and 7 of The Summer I Turned Pretty. C minus.
No comments. No. Nothing.
No.
This didn't do it for you, huh?
Nope. Not quite.
It's disappointing.
Yeah.
For me.
It's disappointing for me in general. I mean, I obviously want to be interested in this show. I love the first season.
Yeah. It's tough because I got so much more to say, but I don't.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to.
Right.
It's an empty soundboard I got.
Only Murders.
The finale. I mean, everyone can watch the finale now.
Only Murders.
Yeah.
I fell asleep. Not because I didn't like it, but because I was very tired when I put it on.
Okay.
And although, so now I don't have
episode 3.
Yes, I'll have to go back and watch it. But man, do I love them. I do. Every time. I love them every time I put it on.
I watched the first 2 episodes this week since, I finally found out that it was back on TV.
That's all I watched.
I really liked the first 2 episodes. I liked the it was a good moment with Paul Rudd of Dead Not Dead Dead. I liked
Way
that.
to spoil it for people who haven't watched.
I mean, someone's dead and it's him from the trailer. Like from the preview, he's dead. And it all happens in one episode. I really don't feel like I'm giving that much away. Did you not watch it?
I haven't even watched season 2 yet. So.
You can't complain.
Yeah. So you're not gonna. You said can't give it.
It was a great episode from what I watched, but I fell asleep.
Okay.
I'm gonna give it an A.
Okay.
Just because.
Just because.
I'm sure it was good.
No, I was really enjoying it.
Yeah.
And I did not fall asleep because I don't like it. I was very tired.
What did I watch? Okay. I watched Heard versus Depp. I'll give a C, is what I already said. I watched episodes 1 and 2 of Only Murders.
Ria's yawn.
I'll give that an A-. I watched.
That was not on purpose. That was
Just genuine yawn.
I watched episode 3 and 4 of Sweet Magnolias. Kind of a lull part here. Some things moving pieces, but I gotta get. The end is always where the good stuff happens. I'll give that a C. I watched the Johnny Manziel documentary.
I watched that too.
Yeah. I thought it was really good. I did. I thought it was really good. Very interesting. Kind of like exactly how I expected it to go. I mean, of course there was the shocking moments, and it was all in the press leading up to the documentary coming out about him really having thoughts of ending his life and things like that. I knew that was coming when I was watching it because we saw the articles about it, but it really was just an interesting look on how I also think how different college football and the NFL is. College football, it was really hey, you're really fucking good. You can kind of get away with doing whatever you want. There wasn't really anybody laying down the law for him. And the NFL was, of course, so different. And he loved football, but not more than he loved having a good time, partying with his friends.
Having a good time is fun.
I've partied with before.
Good for you.
No big deal.
In what context?
At a club in New York City.
Oh,
cool.
I told him, yeah.
Yeah.
Just thought I would throw that in.
Why do I feel like I remember this?
It was after one of our holiday parties.
Okay, yeah.
Me, Spider, and someone else here went to a club.
Yeah.
He did have a podcast here for a while.
Yeah.
And so I mean, I thought it was very interesting and very good and a good look into his life. And he's done some shitty things, questionable things. I think obviously, like he said, drugs, a lot of heavy drug use. So I hope he's out on the other side of that. I guess he's back living in Texas. I don't know how recent that was, but when it ended, it was him and his dad. So
I think they live in Arizona.
Oh yeah, you're right. Arizona, yeah, Scottsdale.
Because
you're right. It was. He's he's got a house in Scottsdale. Yeah. I was more saying when he found himself in a really down spot, he just was he went home. I'll give that a B. I liked it. Red, White, and Royal Blue. I talked about on Monday that I watched. Loved it. Thought it was amazing, impeccable. It gets an A. It gets
I
an
thought
A.
you were going with A+.
No,
It
it gets an
got
A.
pretty good reviews. I looked it up.
No, I
It
really
does have really good reviews.
I really did enjoy it. And this is one, there hasn't really been anything so far that has come out that I have loved so much that I'm like, damn, it really fucking sucks that they're not doing press because I would love to have them on.
Mm-hmm.
This was the first one that I was like, fuck. I would love to have.
We've had him on before.
I know. I would love to have Taylor back on the show. And he was so sweet on Zoom. Like, it would have been so fun. Loved, just really everything about it was fantastic. I don't want to give too much away if people haven't watched it, is the thing. That's why it's always hard with this. Good old weekly watch report, you know? Mm-hmm. I don't want to spoil anything, but it's just, you know, the movie solved all of the world's problems in a sweet 2 hours. Also, I saw, and I was showing it to my sister, that allegedly there's a 3-hour version of the movie that the director was. They had 3 hours and they cut it to 2. I was like, give me the 3-hour version. Release the director's cut.
The hour.
Release the director's cut. It's like the #1 movie on Prime and everything right now. So very exciting. It was great. Loved. Absolutely loved it. I haven't had a movie like that in a while, like where I've felt like I've wanted to like make it really a part of my life, you know? So I really like that. What else did I watch? Oh, I finished Quarterback on Netflix. I'll give that a C. I liked it. I stopped at episode 7. I will not be watching episode 8 because that's when Patrick Mahomes beats the Eagles in the Super Bowl, and I don't want to watch that episode. Okay. So I've stopped at 7, and really, I solely watched because Kirk Cousins, what a gem of a man. Just really loved all of his scenes. And then I believe Love Island, US. Casa Amor, good Casa Amor. Probably one of the better Casa Amors that has happened on Love Island US. I'm going to talk about what is happening. So I know you won't care. So I'm going to put a disclaimer.
What if I watch?
You're not going to watch. You always say this, but you're going to watch Love Island US?
Maybe. I don't know for sure.
Well, if I say one thing, it's juicy, maybe it'll get you to watch.
Whatever.
There's a couple that they're in a pretty good shape before Casa Amor. Not like closed off or anything, but they're in good shape. He goes to in the villa. The girls go to Casa Amor. In the villa, he has sex in the bedroom with one of the girls in the communal room with everybody else in there. Yeah. Oh, so you saw it?
I saw it on Twitter.
There you go. Which was just insane. Crazy move. It's never happened. So obviously the recoupling was like a whole big dramatic thing. There's a couple couples that I love. Carmen and Kenzo I really like. Carmen could maybe not need to get into everybody else's business as much as she does, but she's passionate about her friends, I feel like. So that's nice. And Marco and Hannah I also am obsessed with. I think they're great. I will give that Casa Amor was good. I'll give it a B-.
Good score.
Yeah. Now that is everything I've watched.
Okay. I've been watching a lot of Suits. Did you stop?
No, I'm still watching. Okay. I just can't at this point. It's hard to keep up with how many episodes I'm watching
because I'm halfway through season 3 now.
That's where I'm at.
It's actually I'm almost liking it more as it goes on so far.
Really?
Yeah. I'll give that a B+. Just very easy show to watch.
Yeah.
Entertaining. Chimp Empire. You didn't.
Oh, I didn't watch.
I didn't finish the 4th episode. Oh wait, but I watched the first 3. I have to rate it.
Yeah.
B+.
Okay.
B+.
Chimp Empire. I watched the final episode, and that's an A+. The whole series is an A+. And
you must have been very high watching the whole series.
Well,
because as I was watching it, I was like, "This is this is
duh.
something that would be really something I could really zone out in."
Telling people in real life to everyone I've been encountering, I try to like tell them to watch it, and I'm like, yeah, obviously, like if you're high,
Right.
it's, like,
That's
way
why I
better.
think he's getting an A+ from you.
And I wouldn't like watch it. Like when I would go home and eat dinner or whatever, I would just put Suits on, but I'll be like, I'm saving that for later, and I get in my bed.
It's a treat. Yeah.
Pitch black and just under the covers and
Zone out on.
and it's great. Yeah, I don't want to spoil anything. But A+. I watched the Johnny Manziel documentary. I'll give that a B-. I thought it was just a solid documentary. There wasn't
and it was like it was quick.
Yeah,
like it wasn't long.
I was
you know?
excited when I checked the time on it, and it was like
It's like an hour 15.
yeah, I was expecting like a 4-part thing.
Yeah,
but yeah, B-. I have 2 bad movies.
Ooh.
2 bad rewatch movies. So one I saw because of a TikTok clip, of course, and I couldn't remember. Like I didn't remember watching it, and then when I put it on, I'm like, oh, I've watched this. But I was like, you know what? I'll just watch it again. It's called Spread with Ashton Kutcher. He's like,
Never heard of it.
he's like this basically homeless guy, but he's just like an attractive guy who lives in LA and just sleeps with like really rich women and lives off them. That's basically the premise of it.
Wow, I've never even heard of this.
Yeah, and
Have
I was
you
like,
heard of
I
this?
have seen this.
No.
Ashton Kutcher movie?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, I'll give that a D.
Wow. Tough one for our pal Ashton.
Yeah, not a great movie. It's almost so ridiculous though that it's like you can watch it. This movie Frozen, not the Frozen.
This
that you're
movie
thinking.
Frozen?
No, not that movie Frozen.
Go away, Anna. I watched this new movie, Frozen.
So I had a couple of rewatches. You ever heard of Frozen?
No, it's not that Frozen. This Frozen, and this was so bad that I literally just skimmed through different parts, but I'll put it on here.
Okay.
It
sounds like an F.
This one's a D-. So
Okay,
it's
close enough.
Basically the premise is these 3 people get stuck on a chairlift on a mountain. Like everyone it's at night. They just forget that they're on the chairlift and they all go home. So they're stuck. And then there's like wolves and it's freezing and it's this whole thing. But terrible movie. So that's a D-.
They're announcing who's president at 3:30.
This is the funniest thing ever, though. I do
go
really.
fuck myself.
No,
I'm kidding.
Honestly, Noah, one of my favorite things is just you watching terrible movies and talking about
And
it.
then going,
just being like,
yep, it's
So I
terrible.
watched this movie, D-. Absolutely
terrible.
awful, terrible.
I
Don't
know-
watch it.
I don't even know how you make it through the end of these.
Some of these are so bad that but I like to put it on
You have to
because-
see it through.
And it's just like I'm not like sitting there like
Right.
fully invested. I'm
You're
like,
just
on my
throwing you're on your
like,
phone throwing your hands in the air
Yeah.
going, this is
this idea
awful.
of working like
Yeah.
yeah.
Maybe. Yeah.
The last movie that I watched in the theaters
in the
In the
theater.
theater.
is Theater Camp.
Theater camp. You love this.
Great movie. Really good movie. I mean, I didn't go to Theater Camp, obviously. I don't know if that's
You
I
may
don't know
have.
why you said
We've seen your
obviously.
dancing
I don't know
videos.
why you said obviously like
I just
that.
feel
Like there's a
people
negative connotation to theater camp.
I just feel
Maybe
like
you
people
did go to
wouldn't
theater camp.
Peg me for like a theater camp.
I
guy.
think I would.
What are you talking about? Like I could see you being like the lights guy, like the production guy, like the back.
Theater
You
camp,
know,
there's so many different roles at theater camp. Maybe
Yeah.
you're not on stage front and center.
director, producer.
You know, you're not Troy Bolin.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I wasn't though. But yeah, Jimmy Tatro is just so funny in everything he does. And
All right, fanboy.
all right, sorry. All right, Ben Platt was
I had
pretty
a
good
comment
too.
literally after every sentence he said.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
I do feel like that most of the theater went to theater camp or something because I kind of felt like I thought it was very funny, but there were so many times where the theater was like erupting in laughter, and I'm like, that must be like an inside theater joke or something.
You're like, I don't get this. I've
This
never been
must
to theater
because I
camp.
never went to theater camp.
But like
I'm on the outside of this inside joke.
the crowd was like very. I love when the crowd's like excited. Like the second that the like lights went down, they like erupted in applause. Like before the
that's
music.
fun.
It's very theater camp of them.
And it's just so funny.
Maybe you went with like some of Ben Platt's biggest fans.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a Lincoln Center movie theater,
Yeah.
which is obviously right. Lincoln Center, but
Yes. That is where the Lincoln Center movie theater is. Is that all? No, it actually
Wrap
we
it
did get
up.
an email like they want everyone in
Yeah,
in the area.
what was I gonna say? No, it never gets old when the Nicole Kidman thing goes up and people like recite it with her.
Yeah, no,
And
it does.
it's
It
so
makes
funny.
me excited every time I go to
Yeah.
the movies.
That's all though.
Okay. Thank you so much,
Thank
Noah.
you so much. And I think theater camp is one many would be interested in.
Yep.
I do think, yeah. It's a solid. I gave it an A-. I don't know if I said that.
And Full Circle on HBO.
Yeah.
If you haven't checked that
You
out
haven't
yet,
checked that out, make
please
sure you
go check
stream
that.
Full
Full Circle on HBO. All right.
And now I'm forgetting the name of it. Hijack.
And Hijack.
Hijack
By the
on
way,
Apple
the finale did come out.
Yep.
Good show. All right. That's all we watched this week. Fran, you were messing up your words a little bit, okay? I complimented you. You said creme de la creme.
Yeah.
You got one fancy word out. You thought you had it, but then you messed up. And you know what that is? That's a rookie mistake.
It is.
And
I'm chock full of them.
You are. And you know what the definition of a rookie mistake is?
I think that actually was also just another rookie mistake. I think the phrase is chock full of them.
It's chock full. You did it again. And you know what? We're going to fix you right up. We're going to fix you right up. A rookie mistake is something, when you are just misstepping, okay? You're not in sync with yourself. We've all been there, momentary lapses in judgment or words like you've been having this podcast. Or, when you're trying to get into a game for the weekend, last minute, you messed up. Oh no, you bought tickets for next week. You thought you bought them for this weekend.
I've actually done
been
that before.
there. One time I was buying a flight to Martha's Vineyard for you, showed up at the airport. They told me my flight was for the next weekend.
Yep.
I had to buy a new flight right there. Those things happen. But guess what? I'm here to rescue you, Fran. And you know who else is here to rescue you? See, I just did it. I need to rescue myself. Snickers. Guess what?
Amazing.
I got you a Snickers.
Oh, thank
and
you.
I got one for myself.
Thank you very much. Snickers to the rescue.
Snickers to the rescue, as always. Snickers will satisfy all of life's rookie mistakes. Snickers to the rescue. You know Snickers. We all know Snickers. It's an epic blend of chocolate, caramel, peanuts, and nougat, which is a word that I didn't know if I was going to pronounce it correctly, but I did. You want to know why? Because I have Snickers in my hand, ready to go. I'm going to take a nice, delicious bite.
It's the best.
Oh, I love a Snickers.
It's really good.
I love it so much. I don't want to chew with my mouth open, but I just might have to. Huddle up for a coachable moment with Snickers, the official chocolate bar of the NFL and the ultimate wingman, making life's hiccups a little less embarrassing. You can learn more at Snickers.com. NFL. Guys.
Yeah. Absolutely delicious. You guys know, like you said, the official chocolate bar of the NFL. So no more rookie mistakes, especially not headed into football season. Snickers.com/NFL.
/NFL. No more rookie mistakes. We're not going to make any more rookie mistakes with these Snickers in our hand. Holy moly. It's delicious. Go get your Snickers.
All right, everyone. We are here with a very special guest. We have Hozier back in our studio. How'd I do?
Yeah.
Good?
Yeah.
All right.
So, yeah.
Okay. I feel like probably every interview you do, it's either, hey, say your name for us, or like you got that totally right or totally wrong.
Oh, you nailed it.
Perfect.
Yeah, we did have a little bit of a debate before you came in.
Yes.
Okay.
And you know what? I think, you came on our show years ago.
Yes.
It was at the Sirius Studios. And if I recall correctly, I think we had the same conversation where we may have said it wrong at the beginning and then was corrected.
Totally. I think you nailed it. I always say cozier with, it rhymes with cozier,
That's a great way to do it.
Yeah.
That's a great way to do it. Well, thank you so much for coming back.
Thank you.
We're
good
very
to see you
excited.
again.
We're very excited to
Good
have
for
you.
years.
It's been a long time.
It has been a long
We've all lived a
time.
lot of life. You guys.
Yes.
More music.
We figured you wouldn't remember us. I think you're pretending to remember us.
No, I do. It was the off. What was the name of
We
the?
were at the Sirius Studios,
The Sirius
and
office.
but that's I'm sure you had to do.
Oh, that's the picture of us.
to
Oh,
do
that's
a 9
frightening.
million.
Oh wow, yeah.
Look at all of our hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Check us out.
Yeah.
Well, we've grown up,
Yes, exactly.
Look at
We
us now.
certainly
Third
are.
album.
We're
still doing podcasts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we've done over 300 episodes.
Yeah.
500, 600 almost now.
Congrats. Congratulations.
Yeah, that's a lot of episodes.
That's amazing.
That's kind of crazy. But you're here in New York. Your new album is out now, and everybody's listening. You can listen to Unreal on Earth. How long have you been working on this?
Yeah, I think some of the first songs I wrote in 2020, early 2020. I sort of put some other ideas aside and sort of kicked into this. But I think November 2021, so end of 21, was when you could sort of reapply for visas for the States. A lot of producers I wanted to work with were based here. So it was really 22 was an intense sort of studio time where I was really, I hit the ground running, and a lot of the recording happened then, you know.
And when you finish a song that you absolutely love and you know it's going to be on your next album, what is that feeling like when you kind of want the world to hear it? You want to put your music out there and you have to hold on to it.
Yeah, there's definitely, like, it's a release. Like, you're releasing the music in a sort of commercial sense, but there is something of a release where you let go of it, you know, and you have to. Yeah, that can be. You're emptying your pockets of it. You're just letting it sort of fly out in the world, and either way, when it's out there, then it's not just yours anymore. It's kind of, you're hoping that people let it into their own homes and their own hearts and minds, you know. So, you kind of just like watching your kids go off to college. You know what I mean?
And all grown up.
All grown up.
Yeah, here, fly away. I read that you recorded mostly in LA, right?
Yeah.
So, and you were kind of like hopping around from spot to spot. Do you have a permanent spot in LA, or like you were just couch surfing?
I was kind of just surfing. Yeah, I was. What was fun about it was I could like live month to month in a different neighborhood. So for when, if I do put a route down there, you know, I have a better sense of the city in different neighborhoods, you know. But I mean, everywhere's changing so much. Like, every city is changing so much. Even from the first time I went to LA to last year, same as New York, you know. The Lower East Side has changed so much. That was the first place I ever landed in New York, the first show we did. But but some of it was done in County Wicklow, where I'm from. I kind of recorded some of the stuff back home, and then brought those demos over to
What
LA.
was your favorite neighborhood that you were in LA?
I have really good memories of. It was kind of silly living, like Abbot Kinney was, like, you know what I mean. But it you know, it was really, really fun and really nice. I had friends nearby, and then they all have different paces, you know. They've all very different paces. I live in the countryside, so anywhere where I could walk out of my place in LA, and it's hard to find places where you can walk out
anywhere,
and get a cup of coffee, you know. So I found that in kind of West Hollywood. I found that in Silver Lake, and a little bit in Abbot Kinney as well.
Yeah.
So
you were really all over the place.
I was. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Do you spend more time in the States or back home?
It depends on the year. It depends on a tour cycle. I'll spend most of my time this year, I think, in the States, sometime in Europe. Last year I spent at least 6-7 months of the year in the States, you know.
Do you have a favorite state?
I don't know. I think culturally
don't worry, nobody will get mad.
Culturally I felt very aligned with the East Coast, you know, and with New York. I found it very, I didn't find it hard to settle in here. And so I'm more aligned culturally, and it took me longer to make sense of the culture of the West Coast, if that makes sense.
No, I definitely think that makes a lot of sense. And so you said you started really kind of working on stuff early 2020. What you started on, did that take on a totally different life, kind of going through the pandemic? Like, how did that affect what you were writing?
Yeah, I definitely, you know, writing for me in the first 2 albums was always like something I'd do in solitude. I'd kind of wait until I could be completely alone, have time to myself. I'd get a lot of work done between 10 p.m. and 4 a.m. So yeah, kind of vampire hours.
Yeah.
And be very covetous of like just alone time and just being left alone. But what I found then in the pandemic is actually for the first time finding the upper limits of what that can give me, you know, finding the limitations of solitude, and with regards like it being something that offers you more than it takes away. And so I sort of came down the other side of that. After finding its limitations, I was really charged with this new energy to, like, in working with other people. So when I got to LA, it was like jamming ideas around, kicking ideas around in a space with other minds and other, you know, creative outlooks and abilities, musical abilities. That was like super fun.
Yeah.
So
was it almost like you were like, okay, I've had enough time alone, it feels good, but I'm ready to get these ideas to other people?
I think so. Yeah. It was I'd emptied my pockets, and I was like, okay, so you know, what else? So I could produce the work, you know, with guys, but then also to just start from scratch. I'd enter into a space with like some of the producers and just start jamming music and make music with, in a way that I hadn't jammed since I was like 15, like just making noise with people.
Yeah.
And after coming away from a lockdown where being in a room with people seemed exotic, you know, that was great.
Yeah, and I'm sure you just wanted to know, like, I've been working on these songs by myself. Other people have heard them, but I haven't been able to see that actual physical reaction. So it's like, is this good? Like, what am I working on?
Right. How do you know if something really hits you? Like you're saying, you're just making music, you're jamming. How do you know when you're like, all right, we've got it?
I think it happens early there's two. There's one that happens early in the conception of an idea when it's still kind of in an embryonic state, and it's like something is rising up in you. It's like you kind of put your ear to some abandoned well, and then you're like, oh no, there's something there. You can actually, you kind of are charmed by this thing that feels incredibly authentic or feels true to some theme or true to some part of yourself, and that in the conception of writing, you're like, okay, this is special. I need to cultivate this. I need to treat this with care, treat this idea with care, and execute it as best I can. And then there is the ending of it when you're producing it, where you're adding the bells and whistles. And that's delicate too, because you're like, you want to make sure you don't want to gild the lily. You know what I mean? You don't want to add too many bells and whistles, and put on all of these branches and all of these limbs onto what is the core idea that you wanted to capture in the beginning. So there's these two kind of moments. But knowing when it's finished is kind of really hard, because that is tough, and that's a matter of many opinions, and it's also the deadline kind of helps out.
Yeah.
You know?
I was going to ask if you are somebody who goes back to a song that you feel is finished over and over again, and how do you know, like, all right, I have to stop going back to this, it's done.
Totally. Yeah, that's hard, because I definitely do, and there is some songs, and it's never a good feeling that when you're laboring over what is those last decisions that you want to make. And they might be nothing, they might be a word, but for you, it means everything. And like, there's a lot, you know, you change one word in a sentence, and it can mean something very, very different, or it can be interpreted very, very differently. So those ones, yeah, kill me. And there was a number of those on this album, but yeah, it's like, how do you want to stop coming back? Sometimes it's also just nice to say it's not going to happen. And like, if you have to keep coming back to an idea because it doesn't feel ready, there's a great freedom in saying, you know what, it's not ready to be born. It's not ready to come. So, I'll come back to it at some other date, or some part of it will find its way to something else. You know,
you have 16 songs on this album. What do you find is like the perfect number? Because I've seen just the chatter from a lot of music fans these days is that we're not getting like full albums. Maybe they're short, they're either really short or really long, but like, what do you find like that 16 is like a good sweet spot?
It felt good on this one.
Yeah.
It felt right. It was nearly a 17 song album.
Yeah.
You know, I think we recorded 26, 27 songs, you know, so that are ready and mixed.
Yeah.
So, and it sucks, because it's like, I want to share those, you know what I mean? And they're parts of me that I really want to get out there, and that I'm proud of. And so yeah, 16 felt right. I think it's hard to know when you're sort of expecting too much from people to sit. Many of us don't have 60 to 70 minutes for like 80 minutes to sit down and listen to something front to back. So I'm also like, I'm aware that the trick was, I suppose the challenge was like getting something that feels like an album with a capital A, but then also these songs can stand on their own 2 feet away from that space and the majority of people will just they might hear 1 or 2 or 3, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think the majority of people have the ability to sit down for 62 minutes and give something their undivided attention.
Start to finish, especially.
Yeah,
Like maybe they'll come back to it and finish the whole thing.
Yeah, I struggle to do that with films. I struggle to do that, you know? And
Attention spans have
yeah,
shortened.
attention spans and our attention spans, and then our workload and our, you know what I mean? That has increased.
So you pulled a lot of inspiration from Dante's Inferno for this album. Explain to everyone really what that kind of means and where that even came from, because it obviously, from just the immediate reaction, feels dark.
Yeah, and there's also it could be, and there's also something. There's also the idea of just passing through something, coming through something, and making sense of what you've been through and what you've gained in that time. And I think there's a part of me that's like super allergic to writing songs that are about a lockdown experience or a pandemic experience. Here we are, like we all had our time with it. We had our time in it, and the time made its way into us in a way that's just like, okay,
People want to forget it.
Yeah. You know what? Let it. People process it in their own time. So there's maybe one lyric on the whole album that reflects in any way on that experience, but like one line from one song. But I think it still seems silly to not acknowledge the fact that I certainly went into these circumstances, and I think we collectively as a society, depending on where you were in the world and what the rules were, what the consensus was of where you were, but we all found ourselves in this place where the context for the way that we lived changed, circumstances changed. We were at risk of losing a lot of things. People lost loved ones, people lost their jobs, people lost a great deal. Relationships changed. There was this enormous shift in the way that we contextualized our lives, understood the simplest of things like social interactions, physical contact. So there's this great sense of change, of us sort of passing through something and then coming out the other side. And so it felt dishonest, or it felt silly not to acknowledge at least the existence or the actuality of that. And so using that poem, and that poem is written by a dude from Florence, this poet centuries and centuries ago. It's a really, really significant piece of like Italian literature. But it's just this kind of vision quest that this guy ends up in hell, you know, and falls off the path a little bit, or finds his way into these circumstances, ends up in hell and has to walk through it and comes out the other side. And so I just used that structure. And he structures hell in his imaginings, in his writings, as having 9 circles. He starts at one circle and he winds his way down and then comes out the other side of the world. So I just shaped the album into 9 themes, which are named after the circles that he sort of imagines. And then there's a descent at the beginning of the album, and there's an ascent at the beginning of the album. Or at the end of the album, there's like a returning or an ascent, seeing the sky for the first time in a long time. And that's the kind of rough structure. So in no way is it a book report, or you need to know about this poem, you know. It was just to structure the album in a way that was like, okay, coming into something and out the other side, as if to just nod to the fact that that's something we all did in the last few years.
And it makes so much sense.
And although it's like, you know, you hear hell and you're like, that's dark, but that's a comparison that many people can relate to, of going through a really dark time and coming out the other side.
Any kind of challenge.
Yes.
Yeah. You know, yeah. And it's like, I think it's fun to play with these stories and play, like, why that poem is so significant. It actually still to this day is like, became the foundational text. It's a foundational sort of imagery of how we all collectively imagine what hell is.
Right.
And I think part of playing with myths like this and playing with stories like this is like, we need to I think it's good, especially now. It's crazy, like the way things are kind of going in the last couple of years. It's good to remind ourselves that hell is not a real place, you know what I mean? But what we mean by when we go through hell, or I think individually, I think if you live long enough in this world, you'll walk through your own little hell realm and you'll come out the other side, you know, and you'll take stock of what it is. And I think it
is an expression people use all the time. Like, I went through hell and back.
Yeah, totally. So it's just playing with that. Right. You know what I mean?
Now, from when you started making music and to now, do you feel a different pressure with the way social media has changed and with the way people have been told to make music to cater to people on social media?
I found it a challenge at first. In the pandemic, I found it a challenge to be musician or songwriter or performer and then become cameraman, lighting man, editor.
Right.
You know, especially on an app that the interface of which is this size, and you make a slip and you lose 20 minutes of editing time. You know what I mean? It's, you know, a good decent TikTok takes hours. So I have to hand that respect to those who have.
It seems really easy until you start to do it yourself, and you're like, okay, this is not as easy as it seems.
Totally. Yeah. So. There is a challenge in there's parts of me that was adverse to, but I have to say what's really nice to experience is, like, in the case of some songs on this record, a song called Unknown in particular, I just uploaded a video of me playing a sort of demo version of that song, and to have direct access to people saying, hey, this is cool, to skip the studio, to skip the campaign thing and just say, hey, here's a rough idea, like, here's my sketch. And people are like, that's cool, see that through. And to get that immediate access to that response is really, really nice. There's something special about
the
that.
feedback right away.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, that is really nice. And now you're going to be able to see all your fans on tour. When was the last time you had a full tour?
Full tour ended December 2019.
Okay.
So I can't believe it's 2023.
Yeah.
But
almost a full 4 years.
Full 4 years. I have been touring since March of this year.
Yeah.
So we did a club run, in the States, and we did a kind of a club run in the EU recently, in Europe recently. I don't know where I am.
Yeah.
So we just last time I was in New York, we were playing the Barry Ballroom, and so we've done a couple shows back in Europe, and but we're gearing up to a larger production, larger venues right now, and it's
a lot of sold out shows in the US, which is really, really exciting. I mean, you're going to be at Madison Square Garden, which is huge. What is that? How does that feel for you?
It's cool. I mean, that's an iconic place, and I think when you're starting out, there is a part of you that doesn't dare to say to yourself, oh yeah, one day I'm going to be doing Madison Square Garden, you know, or the Hollywood Bowl. You know, so when it's upon you, it's been a nice surprise. It was a really, really sweet surprise that sold out very quickly. I think the day the tickets went up, it was gone very fast. That's just super encouraging. I think to be 10 years now, nearly releasing music, and it's just that it's still growing and people are still coming to the music, and it's getting bigger every time. That's really encouraging. Yeah.
What's your reaction like when you sell out MSG? You know, you're a soft-spoken guy. He yells at that's cool.
Yeah.
A couple pints.
Maybe a fist pump in the air.
Yeah. I'd love to. Yeah. I don't know. I can't remember. I was like, it was. Yeah. I was gonna joke like, yeah. The false humbleness is gone once the cameras stop rolling. I was upset. I did 7 lines of cocaine. Wrap my car around a fucking lamppost.
We figured that's who you are as a person.
Exactly. You know, I was in the news again.
Yes, that would be our guest.
Back in court.
Yeah.
And no,
classic you.
Yeah. I think it was a quiet. Look, it was quiet. I have a reluctance to be all too proud. I think it's like it is just okay. That's good. Okay.
Casual. That's
nice. It was good. Yeah, I was
good for me.
I was proud. Yeah, I was happy. I was proud. I did allow myself a moment of happiness.
Yes, as you should. Yeah.
What are your favorite and least favorite parts of being on the road?
My God. The least favorite is definitely missing home, right? Missing the community that I'm part of over there. My friends who I've known since like high school, my high school buddies, you know, in the pandemic in particular, I plugged myself into that community, and I got to watch some of my best buds have their first kids and stuff, you know, and I'm godfather to a child now, and it's like there's a part of me that feels like I'm missing a great deal of like these significant moments in the lives of people I love, and that's tough. So the tiredness, you get used to being tired, you get used to being sleepless, like, you know, it's like anything, it's like working in New York. I think but I think but then the best parts are it's incredibly rewarding, you know. It's to watch your life's work kind of come to fruition and get to sort of sit at the sharp edge of its impact with people who are showing up every day to be in it, to watch it happen. That's really, really rewarding. And there's also something you kind of have, that you live in this perpetual sort of childishness of not being grounded. I don't have to think about the little things. Does my house need painting right now? Do I gotta rearrange? Do I gotta clean my kitchen? You know what I mean? You sort of take a step away from adult life, and you're in a different place every day. That you kind of just float through the world in a very playful way, and there's something fun about that too. You know?
This is a silly question, but you mentioned, you know, missing some of your friends' big life moments. Do you have to RSVP to things, you know, when you're a big artist like yourself?
I
or do they just expect, you know, they can call you and go, you coming to this or no?
Yes, I do have to, but I have to be reminded too many times, and just like that is one of my awful traits, is I'm very bad at getting back to
right.
Yeah,
I am too. RSVPing.
Well,
you're like, you got to email or send the thing back.
Yeah, especially if it's like a year away, or it's like
weddings and whatnot.
If I exist then.
It comes back with the little envelope to send back. You're like, I got to do the mail thing.
Yeah. Exactly.
I would assume like your closest friends from home, of course, have known you the longest and know you the best. How do they make sense of the kind of musical star that you are? Like, is that when people get to poke fun?
They do.
Because, you know, I feel like Irish humor is a lot of making fun of everybody.
For sure. Yeah, like you that's a rite of passage, and you're not really, there's a real cultural like aversion to somebody being all too proud of themselves. You know what I mean? There's a kind of a there's a great, and look, I think there's wisdom in undermining things that people are, you know, collectively think that should be revered, right? Yeah. And I think Irish people are great at undermining things and sort of making fun of stuff, including celebrities. But I will say, like my buddies, for sure, they will. Yeah, we have a WhatsApp group, and it's like, it's like schoolboys, like, but it's
you know, they're proud of you if they're making fun of you.
Yeah, 100%.
And if they weren't, you'd be like, there's something wrong.
Yeah. Like that, like they'll just make up news headlines, and they're like similar to what I'd said a moment ago. Yeah, and I'll get a good laugh out of it.
Photoshop, send them to you. We saw this today.
Yeah, you're like, wow, can't believe you got caught doing this again.
You're out of control.
So you also just had a new video come out, and now once again I'm back in the position of probably mispronouncing somebody's name, but Domhnall, right? No, close.
It was close.
Terrible.
I was wondering where you go. Donal. So in Gaelic,
wow, that is just nowhere close to what I thought that would be. Gleason, I can get at least.
Absolutely, yeah. It is tough with Gaelic names. The MH softens it so the M disappears.
Okay.
But so Donal.
Donal.
Learn
something new every day.
Yeah.
He's fantastic.
Yeah, no, he is great. Yeah. He is great. It was a valiant effort, though.
I'm gonna try. I was like, I could just ask you to say who's in the video, 100%. But I was like, I'll at least try.
No, everyone's very proud of you.
Talk about. He's also, you know, he's a Harry Potter guy. He's in those movies.
He is a Harry Potter guy, right?
Yeah.
No, there was a part of me that was excited. I was like, oh, let's do it. That's all right, because I know those names are super hard. But Donal Gleason. He is. He's amazing. I've been a fan of his for years. Ever since I was a teenager. He used to be part of this kind of comedy sketch show back in Ireland, and I've been familiar with him for a long time, and I've always admired. He's incredibly funny. He has this very, very natural humor about him. He is sharp as a scalpel, and he's incredibly quick. And then he just every time I see him performing something, he just pulls another color out of himself, another string but yeah, so I was the fact that he was up for it.
Yeah.
And also conceptually, he was a big part of its conception of the actual idea of what this music video was going to be. The idea itself of like, he was kind of like, what about a dude in a field with a shovel, and he's just bringing it everywhere, and we were trying to figure out what's going on. So he was elemental in every part of this video, and then he gave so much of himself for 3 days, just like in the freezing cold, in the water, in the dirt. He just gave all of himself to this video, and so there's the fan in me that's just dorking out that I
right.
working with Donald Gleason, and then there's the kind of artist in me that just admires him as an artist. He's an incredible actor, and
it's incredible to see that kind of collaboration happen too, because when the big movie stars, don't often appear in music videos.
Yes.
So when it's very, very cool.
Yeah. And I gotta say, Wolf James directed it, directed by the name of Debbie. She was also, it was kind of a meeting of three minds on that, and John Cutler, I think, edited it, but yeah, Wolf James did an excellent job of it. Yeah.
So selfishly, I have to ask you, because there's a song called Francesca on the album.
Right.
I'm a Francesca.
Okay.
I know I introduced myself as Fran, which I go by here, but I am a Francesca.
She was bragging last night.
Which at first glance you're like, ooh. There's not a lot of songs with my name, and I was like, oh my God, I'm excited to listen to this one.
Okay.
And then I was like, it's not really it's not quite the happiest.
No, it's not. No, it's really not.
So,
Sorry.
what was kind of the meaning behind that one, and where did the name come into play?
Yeah, you're probably like listening to it, waiting for the name to come up.
Yeah, right. I'm like, I haven't. It seems to not have said it one time.
So it's kind of that song nods to that's one of the more direct references to the poem.
Yeah.
In Canto 5, the character Dante arrives to this like enormous place in hell where there's this giant hurricane, and it's where lovers are being punished for having fallen in love, in a way, in his fundamentalist like dark age. It wasn't the dark age, it was kind of Renaissance time, but like his fundamentalist thinking that, okay, yeah, they fell in love, but that's also a sin. There's some carnal sin of lust, and they're being punished for having been swept off their feet. They're being tossed off. Sorry, excuse me. That's. I'm glad that maybe that doesn't translate to the US. They're being tossed around. They're being tossed around. That would have been a very interesting scene in the poem. So they're being tossed off in hell. They're being tossed around in hell in this hurricane. Jesus Christ. So the song sort of wanted to capture some of that feeling, but also undermine and sort of reapproach or ameliorate their condition, and say, well, no, this isn't a punishment. How could we be punished for having fallen in love? That they're in the poem, they're trapped, they're kind of locked arm in arm, they're still holding on to one another, and they're sort of weeping. Or Paolo is silent throughout that scene, and he's just weeping. That's her lover, Francesca de Rimini. And I think why it's significant is, like, Francesca de Rimini is not a fictional character. She was a real person from Florence that Dante knew about, and she was married in like a political marriage at the age of 13 or 14 to like a nobleman, to a much older, quite unwell man, and in what we would call now is like a child marriage,
right.
And she ended up falling in love with somebody else. And she fell in love with his younger brother, so somebody closer to her age. Yeah. And when he found out about the affair, he murdered them both at once. And so he in his wisdom sort of goes, okay, yeah, like he writes that how sad it is that they're in hell, but at the same time, he also made the decision to immortalize this person who was a real person into his book, and to populate hell with her, and sort of write that she's been punished for that. So part of the approach is also, it's like, well, no, hang on a second, and maybe approach that idea with our own modern day sensibilities, and sort of soothe that scene a little bit, you know, and kind of turn those tears of sadness into tears of joy and say,
Right.
well, no, this is exactly where I want to be. This is exactly where I chose to be, and would make that decision again and again.
It made a lot more sense to me when we were preparing for the interview, because I had listened to it when it first was released on its own, and I was like, I feel like maybe I'm missing something.
Right.
And once, we're doing prep and hearing more, reading more about what really like was coming from this album, I was like, now it makes a lot of sense.
Right.
Now
And the way you just explained
now
it.
I understand the connection
That's
with
the reference.
but it's an awesome song. The song, it's has a major like rock element to it, I feel like.
Totally, yeah.
There's a good what genre would you place this album in? Can you even do it, or is it like I feel like genre's there's not, everything mixes now.
Yeah, I can't really place it, and
Yeah.
I think part of the approach, I wanted to make sure that also my influences are super eclectic, and so being honest to my influences, it feels dishonest to my influence and how I experience music if I'm not somehow channeling the full spectrum of my own influences, and so genre to me seems convenient when we're talking or we're trying to box music into something. It seems convenient when we're marketing music and we're creating this idea that something is a neat little experience or a neat type of lifestyle. In a world where nothing exists in a vacuum.
Yeah.
We are living in an increasingly blended global world. So yeah, it's so part of that is that, and part of it is also just allowing each song, and I think taking license from this idea of different circles and saying, okay, that was that circle, now this is this circle.
Yeah.
Allowing each song to just fulfill itself in whatever production felt right at the time, and whatever sonic landscape or soundscape, whatever textures and colors felt right for that song at the time of its making,
Yeah, definitely.
The cover art is very cool.
Yeah.
Is it your own mouth?
It is my own mouth. Those are my horsey teeth.
Yeah.
So it's a wonderful photographer called Julia Johnson, who's based in LA, and she took that photo, that cover shot, and there's photographs throughout the in the inner sleeve and stuff like that. I just sent her a few doodles of like, this would be cool, what if you bury me in soil? I just sent her like a little sketch of a mouth, in the ground, and she and her partner, who is part of her team, built this sort of set that they could bury me and
So you actually did go under and everything?
yeah, we went under. Yeah,
It looks very cool.
It is really cool.
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah, it was. She was then kind of standing over me, keeping worms away from my mouth and stuff like that.
Oh,
but it was like, yeah,
lovely.
she just
But
put
you still got some dirt in there.
I got some. Oh yeah, yeah. I did.
Make it as realistic as possible.
Yeah.
Well, the last thing I want to ask you is just what are some other artists that you're listening to right now? I always think it's interesting to hear musicians' taste in what they're currently loving that's out there.
Yeah, I keep going back to stuff that returns to me and then like gives me a new thing. I was testing out new headphones recently, and then something I always used to listen to on different systems, but was Nina Simone, the song Wild as the Wind. So like I'm always going back to like classic like 20th century recordings.
Yeah.
Recently I went back to, what was the last thing I was like really sat with an album? It was like Big Thief, and Big Thief's first album and second album. Adrian Lenker, I think, is the primary writer of that work. And it was like, I don't know, it was just like such a stunning experience of like returning, being a tourist in my own memories, and just this, I was just so taken with her songwriting and their songwriting. Those first two albums were the last kind of ones I really sat with, in the way that we say it's hard to sit with an album, to sit down with. And then, obviously, I was listening to Boy Genius recently. I'm touring soon with Madison Cunningham. I've been listening to Madison Cunningham. She's an incredible artist. I don't know.
Boy Genius is cool. Their Phoebe Bridgers is so cool.
No, absolutely, and just incredible songs.
Yeah,
just the craft
totally.
in her songwriting is really impressive.
Thank you so much
Yes,
for sitting
thank
in
you
here
so
with us.
much.
This has been amazing. I will say, you know, a majority of us in the room have all listened to the album and
Only
loved
a majority?
it.
Only a majority?
Yeah, really.
Jesus
like,
fucking Christ, guys.
I know. A
kidding,
majority.
just kidding.
Well, I mean, almost everyone. I only say a majority because I think maybe a couple didn't have access to.
I'm kidding.
We got the.
I'm kidding.
Oh yeah.
I'm looking forward to hearing it myself.
We like
so.
to, toot our own horn when we get things in advance, right?
Yeah.
We're like, well, we've heard it all already.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to it.
And it's really, really great. They all loved it as
We got
well,
some big
which is
fans in the room. Yeah.
really
Thank you.
very exciting. And honestly, it's one of those things where I would say, hey, if you're in a city that has tickets still, you can go check them out. But a lot of the spots are sold out.
Yeah.
You're
Which
popular.
is
Crazy. US and some dates in the UK and Europe
I
later in the year.
Yeah, I think we've
Yeah.
tickets. It's no good for people who are, this side of the world, but we've tickets
Yeah.
for maybe a few European shows that were announced.
Right. It's like,
recently,
hey, if you're like us, you're in New York, it's sold out. So maybe you can
Too
walk
bad.
by, see the big sign on the
Yeah.
outside Madison Square Garden,
We'll
and
be
everyone
back.
can listen to Unreal Unearthed.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah. But we'll be back next year, I think. But thank you so much for.
Thank you.
Thank you so
chatting with
much
me.
for coming in. All right, that wraps up today's episode of Chicks in the Office. Make sure to go back and watch that live stream of us dyeing Noah's hair because unfortunately he did not have it during this episode. That is all. Have a great weekend. We love you and we'll talk to you on Monday.